Hi guys, Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode we're going to be taking a look at when it's probably best to move a player on from your club that you're managing on Football Manager 2015. At the time of making this video, Raheem Sterling is just on the verge of moving to Manchester City for £49 million. It's been very well documented that he's not happy at all at Liverpool and he's just wanting to move on. So personally, I do think it's going to be very, very good business for Liverpool. He's an undoubted talent, but obviously when a player wants to move on from your club, then sometimes it can be best to kind of move them on from your club. We are going to be looking at different sort of situations when it's probably best to move a player on from your club. I'd certainly like to get your guys' opinion on the Raheem Sterling transfer. Do you think it's going to be a very good signing for Man City? And if you were Liverpool and you got that kind of bid on Football Manager, would you be biting Man City's hand off, or would you be holding out to try and keep hold of the player? Also, I'd like to hear from you guys when you think it's probably best to move a player on. Obviously, like I said, we're going to be exploring some different options of when it's best to move players on. When you're playing Football Manager 2015, it's really important that you're managing your players really, really well at your club, and you're just making sure that the players that are leaving your club are players that you definitely want to leave the club. Obviously, there are going to be certain instances when players will want to move on, and obviously we can have private chats with our players to try and convince them to stay on at our clubs. When I'm managing a club on Football Manager, I do, there's sort of certain players that I will always look to move on when I'm managing clubs. So players that are coming to the end of their contracts, if they're not playing too well, then I'll obviously look to move them on. A player's age is going to be certainly very, very important when you're looking to move players on from your club. It's also a really, really good idea that if players are not performing to the best of their ability, or if they're not quite good enough for your club, I think it's always good to try and free up some wages. Just try and move players on from your club, just sort of clear out the dead wood, really. I think that's a very, very good idea to try and do when you're managing your squad. When it comes to moving players on from your club that you're not necessarily looking to get rid of, I also do think it's a very good idea to just try and get the very, very best deal that you can. That may seem a little bit obvious to say, but there's certain things that you can do to try and improve the amount of money that you are getting for your players. So obviously it's a really, really good idea, especially for young players, just like a Raheem Sterling, for example. So young players that have got massive, massive potential. It's a very, very good idea to just make sure that you're tying them down to longer contracts. This will enable you to just get as much money as you can for the players. You can sometimes command a little bit of a higher asking price. One tip that I'll give you guys when I am building a squad, especially for for the long term, what I will look to do, all of my younger players, especially under the age of 23, I'll look to try and sign them on sort of just slightly longer contracts. So maybe if you would normally give players like a 2 or 3 year contracts, try and give players under 23, if they've got good potential, maybe like a 3 or 4 year contract. A really, really good tip, what you can do at the end of the season, if a player has performed pretty well and there's a couple of clubs that are interested and you are looking to sell him, what you can do is offer that player out slightly higher, a lot more than his asking price, basically. And a lot of the time, if clubs are interested, then you'll find that they will take the bait, basically, and will offer you some really, really good players, some really, really good value, for the players that you're looking to move on from your club. This episode, I'm just going to make a really short one, guys. So, I am going to call this the end of the episode. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I certainly would like to hear your opinion, basically, on the Raheem Sterling transfer to Manchester City. Do you think Liverpool are getting a good deal for the player? And do you think he'll turn out well for Manchester City in the end? If there's any kind of tips that you can probably give other players that are playing Football Manager, on when it's best to move a player on from your club, then do share your comments in the comments section on YouTube, and of course do like the video, and of course subscribe to the channel for more Football Manager more Football Manager content when it is released. Thanks for listening.